So till now we have discussed about the different types of armature windings in a DC machine, and we came to know how many number of parallel paths exist in various types of DC machine armature windings. Okay, now in this lecture we will try to derive the expression for DC generator armature induced EMF. After this we will talk about the problems with the commutation. There are two important problems arises due to commutation. So we will talk about the armature reaction and also the LdV di by dt voltage. Okay, let us begin with today's lecture, that is DC armature induced EMF. So we know that armature is wound with some winding, whether it is a lap winding or a wave winding, and the EMF is collected by the brushes like this. And if I want to measure the voltage across the brushes, I will place or I will connect the voltmeter, a DC voltmeter. Okay. Now to find out the total EMF in the armature windings, we need to know the number of parallel paths. We need to know the number of parallel paths in the winding based on the type of winding wound on the armature. For example, if in case of duplex 4-pole lap winding, duplex in the sense 2, lap 4-pole means 4. So 8 parallel paths will exist in this type of winding. Normally these parallel paths is defined or indicated by letter A. Number of parallel paths in the winding is defined or indicated by the letter small a. And for example, in case of simplex 6-pole lap winding, we have 1 into 6, that is 6 parallel paths. And in case of duplex 4-pole wave, we have 2 into 2, that is 4 parallel paths. Okay, so we identify the first the number of parallel paths in a winding, and we assume that in each parallel path has equal number of coils. Okay, so we assume that in each parallel path has equal number of coils, right? And then we try to find out the total number of conductors on the armature. How do we find out total number of conductors, right? Now total number of coils on the armature, say it is indicated by Zc. Total number of coils on the armature, Zc. Then total coil sides will be 2 times of Zc. Coil sides, this is the coils. The total such type of coils are there on the armature Zc, and this is one coil side and this is one coil side. So each coil will have 2 coil sides. So if I multiply by 2, I will be getting total number of coil sides on the armature. Now a coil can be singleton or multi-turn. A coil can be singleton or multi-turn. It may be having so many turns like this. Not only single turn, but it may have so many turns. So if I indicate this by T, number of turns in each coil, then total number of conductors total number of conductors will be 2 times Zc multiplied by T. Okay, so this is the total number of conductors on the armature. Now in each parallel path, number of conductors in each parallel path will be 2ZC into T by A, or simply I write Z total number of conductors divided by parallel paths. Okay. Now, so if these are the two parallel paths, then EMF induced across these points will be equal to this voltage and this voltage. So we can find out EMF induced in one parallel path, that's it. Okay, that is why we are calculating the number of conductors in a path, in a path, right? Now we have calculated total number of conductors in a parallel path, then we identified number of parallel paths, and then now we know the EMF induced in each conductor is, that is E, given by E, small e is equals to BLV. So we have already derived this in the very first class of our course. So you know that. So here this is a coil like this. Now here in this coil side we will be having E, and in this coil side we will be having E, and both are connected like this. So 2E will be the total EMF induced in the coil, but in coil side it is E only. So in each conductor the EMF induced is BLV. So the EMF induced in each parallel path in an armature is given by, so capital EA, which is equals to total number of conductors in a parallel path multiplied by BLV. Okay. Now let us substitute the relation for B and V in this expression by the peripheral velocity V is equals to R radius into angular velocity. This is one relation. We are going to substitute here for V, and we know we have already derived this also, and the flux per pole denoted by phi is equals to the flux density multiplied by the area under the pole, AP, area under the pole. Okay. Now which is equals to, that is flux per pole phi is equals to B into capital A by P, where capital A is the total surface area of the armature. Total surface area of the armature divided by P gives me the pole area under the pole, each pole. AP is the armature surface area under each pole, which is equals to capital A by P, where A is the total surface area of the armature. Okay. Now, so I represent phi is equals to B into total surface area is 2 pi RL by P, which is equals to, now I want to represent in terms of B in this equation. So I write down from here B is equals to phi into P by 2 pi RL. So I have two relations, B equals to relation and B equals to, I substitute in this E equals to this relation. Okay. So what we get, EA is equals to Z by A as it is, multiplied by, this is B is equals to phi into P by 2 pi RL into L as it is, I am substituting here, and V is equals to R into omega. This is V equals to R into omega. So after cancellation, R and L goes here, numerator denominator, then we have with us Z into P by 2 pi A, Z into P by 2 pi A into phi and omega. Phi and omega. So if you notice here, Z number of conductors on the armature, P total poles on the machine, 2 pi, and A is the parallel number of parallel paths in the circuit. So all are constants values. All are constant values. So I can write this EA in general K into phi omega. Phi omega. So the armature induced EMF per circuit is proportional to the flux per pole multiplied by the speed at which it is rotating, multiplied by this constant. Okay. But we know that the angular velocity is equals to, if n is the revolution in RPM, if capital N is the revolution in RPM, revolution per minute, then n by 60 is the revolution per second multiplied by 2 pi radians gives me radians per second. So I am writing expressing omega in terms of n. Okay, so I substitute this omega, this relation in this above equation, I get, so EA is equals to Z into P by 2 pi A multiplied by phi, and I am replacing omega with 2 pi n by 60. So after cancellations, so we have this 2 pi will goes. So on the numerator we have pi z n and p by 60 into A. So this is the final expression. EA, armature induced EMF per each parallel circuit, is equals to pi z n p by 60 A. So this is in ohms. This is in ohms. Okay. So this is the simple derivation for the EMF induced in the armature per circuit. Okay, for example, I have taken two examples here. So a 6-pole machine, duplex lap wound armature, 72 coils with each having 12 turns. Each coil is having 12 turns, and the flux per pole in the machine is phi is equals to 0.039 Webers, and the machine spins at 400 rpm. N is equals to 400 rpm. So what is the induced EMF? So I have with me P equals to 6 poles. Number of parallel paths is duplex lap wounding. So duplex multiplied by P, 6. So 12 parallel paths. And number of conductors. How do I calculate number of conductors on the armature? So I have 72 coils multiplied by 2 coil sides multiplied by number of turns in each coil gives me 1728 conductors on the armature, total conductors. And phi is flux per pole given 0.039 Webers, and N is 400 rpm. So simply just substitution, EA is equals to phi z and P by 60 into A. So you get 224.64 volts. So just a simple substitution. So similarly, one more example. 12 poles, simplex wave wound armature. So simplex wave wound means A is equals to 1 into 2, that is 2 parallel paths. Wave wound, only 2 parallel paths. So number of poles P equals to 12 given, and Z, how do I calculate Z? So Z is equals to 2 into 144 coils and 10 turns each. So it will be coming to 2880 conductors. So substitute here phi Z N is 200 rpm, phi is also given, and number of poles is 12 divided by 60 into A. So it is again coming back to 2880 volts. So simple equation, just all parameters will be given, you will be able to calculate the voltage in the armature. Okay, any doubts? Now I'll take up the next topic, the problems with the commutator or commutation in the real machine. Problems with the commutation in real machine. So what are those problems? One is armature reaction problem and other one is L di by dt voltages. Now let us see each in detail. First I will be taking armature reaction. What is armature reaction? In definition, the effects of armature flux produced due to the flow of armature current, produced due to flow of armature current on the main flux, on the main pole flux, is known as armature reaction. So the definition says that the effect of armature flux produced due to the flow of armature currents on the main pole flux is known as armature reaction. Now let us understand in detail. This is very important concept in the DC machines. So armature reaction. Now so let us understand the armature reaction in detail. So here in first figure, we assume that there is no currents flowing in the armature conductors, and we have only the main flux like this. So main flux, okay, right? Now this is the magnetic neutral axis. Magnetic neutral axis. What do you mean by this magnetic neutral axis? The magnetic neutral axis is the position at which the movement of the conductors will be in parallel to the flux lines. These are all flux lines. They are going like this, and the conductors are moving in parallel to the flux lines, and hence net rate of change of flux lines is 0, and the EMF induced in these conductors placed in this axis will be 0. EMF will be 0. Okay, so and that position is called the magnetic neutral axis, right? So here I showed only the flux lines due to the main pole flux. So we have here the coils wound on the poles, and they are excited through some currents, field currents, and the flux lines will be flowing through the pole shoes, and then enters here into the armature, and again going back to air gap, and again south pole, like this, right? Now due to this, because this armature is rotated by some prime mover, because it is a generator, it is mechanically driven by some prime mover, so it is rotating in anti-clockwise direction like this. Now due to this rotation, the EMFs are induced in these conductors like this. This side we have already discussed this in the first classes. So the directions of the EMFs will be this point will be the dots here, and here cross, and there is no EMF in these conductors in the magnetic neutral axis. Okay, now EMFs are induced, and there is just EMFs induced. If I connect, so we have brushes on these coils are connected to the commutator like this, and brushes are collecting the EMFs. Now if I connect these brushes to some load, okay, to some load, this is plus minus, then current will flow because there is some voltage induced EA across these brushes. So if I connect some load, the current will flow like this. Now there will be a proportionate currents also flow in these coils, in these conductors. Okay, now now I am trying to draw the flux lines due to only armature conductors. Here I have drawn flux lines due to only main pole flux. Now I am here drawing only due to armature currents. I said why currents will flow, because I have connected some load to the brushes. Now due to that, some currents will be flowing in the conductors like this. Okay, now if you notice, they will be directing like this. They will be directing like this around the conductors. Okay, so here also they will be directing like this, like this, like this. So if I, if I try to draw the overall flux lines, then they will be like this. So this is directed inside into the pole and outside from the pole like this here, and on to this side there will be the flux lines due to armature currents will be like this. Okay, so there are now actually two fluxes in the machine, one due to the main pole flux and other one due to the armature currents, but I have shown separately here, but they act together, they are simultaneously exist together. Now what happens when they simultaneously exist? Then now the flux, if you notice here, the flux, these lines will be actually opposing the main flux lines here in this position, and these flux lines, the armature flux lines, are aiding in this region. Okay, so what does actually happen here? The total flux in the armature in this region is reduced, and the total flux in the armature under the pole shoe at this end will be increased. Now the resultant flux lines will be something like this. Here more densed and here more scattered. Similarly here also more densed and here on this side they are more scattered. So the flux lines now, they are not in straight line, but they will be slightly tilted. They will be slightly tilted like this. Okay, So these lines will come like this and they go. So what does it happen? Now there will be the direction of flux in the armature will be slightly, earlier it was like this horizontal, now they are slightly tilted towards the direction of rotation by some angle here. So by some angle here. So now this will be the new magnetic neutral axis. This axis will be the new magnetic neutral axis. Okay, so this is the resultant flux distribution, both due to the main pole flux and armature flux. Now what is the problem with the magnetic neutral axis? What does actually it causes? Let us now understand what problems we face with the shift in magnetic neutral axis. That are, one is the sparking or arcing at brush contacts, and the other one is the reduction in the flux, overall flux. The reduction or decrease or weakening in the overall flux. These are the two problems we are going to face with the magnetic neutral axis shift. Now here I make a point here is, now the shift angle, this shift angle actually depends on the strength of the armature currents. If I load the more, if I load the generator, I'll be getting more armature current. So what happens? Then there will be more shift in the angle. As the loading increases, the shifting of the magnetic neutral axis increases. So this is not fixed. This magnetic neutral axis, it goes on changes with the loading, change in the loading in the machine. So that is the main problem for setting up the brush positions on the commutator. So here what happens? Actually what happens, because the brush positions are set on the commutator such that the coils connected to this commutator will actually induce no current or no EMF. Okay. Okay. So actually we actually try to place the brushes such that they are on the magnetic neutral axes, something like this, because the EMFs induced in these coils will be zero. Okay, let me explain. Okay. So we have coils like this. Right? Now this brush is completely on some segment A, B, C, D, E, F. So one brush is at A and one brush is at F. But when they actually move, because as the rotor rotates, the brush will also slide on the commutator. Now when they move, the brush position will come to AB at one point and EFG. So they will be short circuiting AB and FG like this. Now under this position, the EMF should be 0 in this coil. EMF in this coil should be 0, otherwise there will be a large short circuit circulating current will be developed. Now when this coil will be having EMF 0 when it is exactly under the magnetic neutral axis like this. But when the brush is under shorting the commutators A and B, but somewhere here in some other coil the EMF is induced is 0, and in this coil it is having some finite voltage, some positive voltage, then there will be a short circuit circulating current flowing in this shorted coil. Okay, so that is the main problem due to shift in the magnetic neutral axis, because we once fix the positions of the brushes, they are fixed, they are not going to change. So if we fix according to the no load condition, based on the no load condition, no current, then the magnetic neutral axis will be at this position. If I place the brushes at this point, then as the loading of the machine takes place, the magnetic neutral axis shifts. Then when the brushes short circuiting a coil creates a circulating current, right? Now suppose if I fix the brushes in such a way that, keeping in mind the full load currents, full loading on the machine, I place my brushes in this direction now. Now what happens? It works fine for full load condition, but what about other loading conditions? When the machine is off loaded condition, then the magnetic neutral axis will shift back to its normal position, and in no load condition again it comes back to its original position, and now creates the problem of circulating currents. So the magnetic neutral axis is shifting from time to time as the load is changing on the machine. So this creates a circulating currents in the short circuited coils, and this creates a sparking and or arcing at the brush contacts. So brush contacts, as the brush moves this side or rotor moves this side, there will be a arc producing on this side like this. Okay, so this is a very serious problem. It creates a pitting on the pitting means it will create what is a pitting on the commutator like this. Okay, so the lifespan of the commutator or whole machine will reduce, and we have to address this problem in emergency, right? Now what is coming to the flux leakages? What we are talking, the problems arising due to shift in magnetic axis. One, we have just now understood that the arcing or sparking takes place at the brush contacts due to circulating currents, because the magnetic neutral axis is shifted. So the coil shorted by the brush actually should have a 0 voltage, but it is not having a 0 voltage due to magnetic shift axis, right? Now coming to the next point, that is flux weakening. Now what is flux weakening? Now we actually operate our poles, because we are exciting the coil, this pole windings, and the flux is generated by this coil, and this flux will be such that this core, pole core is almost at the verge of the saturation. It is almost at the verge of the saturation. This is flux produced, and this is MMF. MMF normally represented by F, R, that is ampere turns, N number of turns, and current, multiplication of number of turns into current. So if I pass I current in this coil having n turns, then MMF is equals to Ni. Now this is magnetomotive force F. So with the increase in magnetomotive force, the flux produced will also increase. But it is linear to some extent, but as we go on increasing the current in the loop, at one point it gets on saturating like this. Okay, but we don't operate at these levels, but we try to operate somewhere here, somewhere at the here, normal excitation I. Okay, so that is the corresponding flux coming out of the pole, right? Now due to armature reaction, what is actually happening? We are having reduction of flux in this side and a increase in flux towards other end. So flux is shifted from this end to this end due to armature flux. Okay, now what is happening? See, so this side, if I increase the ampere turns, there will be small amount of increase in the flux. But with the decrease in the ampere turns, there will be large decrease in the flux. That means here this side the flux is decreasing proportionally with the proportional increase in the armature flux. But simultaneously, what is not happening? It is not happening a proportional increase of flux on this side because of core saturation. Due to core saturation, the flux increase on this end is limited. Due to core saturation, the flux increase is limited to some finite value, but reduction is taking place proportionally with the proportional decrease in the excitation. Okay, so now what is happening? The net effect of armature reaction is to reduce the overall flux per pole. It will be reducing. So once this is reduced, what we know, EA is proportional to some constant into phi into omega. Speed is maintained constant, but flux is reducing now, hence the EMF generated by the generator will also reduce. Okay, so this is another consequence due to armature reaction. One is damaging the commutator because of due to sparking, and other one is the reduction of the overall EMF induced in the armature. So we have understood the armature reaction to some extent. Now what is L di by dt problem? We are talking about the commutator problems. One is armature reaction, and in that we have studied about the two, sparking or arcing, and other one is overall flux reduction. Now we are talking about the L di by dt voltages. What is this L di by dt voltages? Let us come to the point. Now same, I have shown three instances of the brush positions. This is 1, 2 and 3. Three instances of the brush positions. How are they? At some time this brush is occupying completely the commutator segment A. It is completely on the commutator segment A. And in second instant, this brush is shorting both segments A and B. And in third instant, this brush is now completely came onto the segment B. It left the segment A. This is rotor is moving like this. So brushes are moved towards onto the right side. So brush now is occupying completely on the segment B. Okay, right. Now I have assumed that this brush is collecting 400 amps. So each parallel we are going to have two brushes, one brush here, one brush here, for two parallel paths. And if we have one more set like this, we will be having one more brush sets like this. So 4 parallel paths, 4 brushes in the lap winding. In case of wave winding, only 2 parallel paths, 2 brushes, right? In case of 6 poles, then we will be having 2 more parallel paths and 2 more brushes like this. Okay, right? 6 brushes, 6 parallel paths in 6 pole machine, right? Now under each brush, 2 currents will be coming or leaving like this. If it is minus and if it is this plus, it is collecting from 2 sides. If it is minus, it is giving 2 sides like this, right? Now here also, at this point also, because this is a positive, I have indicated positive, it is collecting 400 amps from this side and this side. That is equal 200 amps coming from this end and 200 amps is coming from this end, right? From this loops it is coming like this and this loop it is coming like this, right? Now when it is at the second instant, now I am particularly talking about, you just focus on this loop, this coil, okay, which is connecting between A and B. Just focus on the coil connected between A and B, right? Now coming to the second instant, when the brush is at the A and B, shorting A and B, right? Now it is still connecting 400 amps. Now this current is coming from this end like this end like this, 200 amps, 200 amps, and this coil is shorted. This coil is shorted, which I just ask you to focus. The coil which is shorted connected between A and B is now shorted due to the brush position. Now ideally I assume that this is at the magnetic neutral axis and 0 EMF is induced in this coil and there is no circulating current, right? But what is happening, as the brush is moving from A to AB and then to B, what is happening, this current in the coil, earlier it was actually giving 200 amperes in this direction, and at the second instant this 200 amps is reduced to zero, and in the third instant when the brush is now moved on to the segment B, now this is still collecting the 400 amps. Now this is coming from this end and this end. Now what is happening in this coil? Now the direction is reversed and it is now contributing 200 amps. In the first case it is contributing 200 amps in this direction. In the second case it is contributing 0, and in third case it is contributing 200 amps in reverse direction. That means as the brush position is just touching the segment B, still it is on A, it is touching the segment B, then this reversal of this current takes place in this coil. And when the brush position completely occupies on to the commutator segment B and just leaves commutator segment A, then this reversal from 200 this side to 200 on right side, this side will takes place. That means from, I have shown here, this is positive 200 amperes contributed when the brush position is at A. The brush is just reaching the beginning of the segment B. Just it is touching the segment of B, and from there the reversal process is actually taking place. And brush position, when it completely enters onto the B and leaves the segment A, the reversal of this current should ideally takes place to this 200, from plus 200 to plus 200 on the other direction, right? Ideally it should take like this. But what actually happens is this reversal will not happen exactly to 200, but reaches to some value. Now it will jump from this value to this value with a creation of spark or arc at the trailing edge of the brush position. So there will be a there will be a spark at the trailing edge of the brush position due to this reversal. Now why this is not actually coming to this 200, why it is, what causing the current not to take place complete reversal? Because of the presence of small inductance in the coil. Now let us assume the change in the current is 400. It is taking place from this side 200 to this side 200. So in between it is coming to 0. So 400 change in amperes is taking place in that moment. The shift in brush from this position to this position. And the time taking place in moving this brush from this point to this point is assume that 0.0015 seconds. Now if you calculate the di by dt, that is 400 by 0.0015 seconds, it comes to 2,66,667 amperes per second. That high rate of change of current is required to make an ideal shift from plus 200 to minus 200, or plus 200 one direction to plus 200 on the other direction. Okay, so if that coil is having a finite small amount, even a small amount of inductance, then it will be creating this sort of delay change. It actually, this inductance will actually will not allow the change of current. It will try to retain the current, right? So this actually induces some finite amount of E, which actually opposes the reversal of the current. Okay, so that is L di by dt voltage will be inducing in that coil, and which actually opposes the reversal of the current, and again it creates the sparking at the trailing edge of the brush. So ultimately either armature reaction or the L di by dt voltage, what we have just now understood, both creates the arcing of the brushes, or ultimately it will damage the commutator and whole machine. So today's class we have just briefly understood about the problems associated with the commutation. One is armature reaction and other one is L di by dt voltages. So in coming class we will try to understand how to mitigate or how to reduce these problems. Okay, I'll end up this session. Thank you.